All right, next segment, people. Let's talk a little bit about vaccines and everything going on with COVID. And as I've been saying to you, I'm sort of feeling lately that because it's very obvious that COVID is never going away, it's going to be this constant cudgel that they can always use to control us and lock us down and put more rules on us and all of the stuff that you all get, right? Since they're always going to do that, I feel like if I talk about it a little bit less, maybe it'll give it a little less oxygen. And if you guys just go about your life as you see fit, maybe that's the only way we get past this thing. It's not going to be a top-down thing where they suddenly start saying to us, oh, you can have your life back. But there were two interesting videos that I saw this morning from NBA players talking about vaccines. And we know, by the way, that there are many, I don't know if we have specific numbers on it yet. Are there specific numbers on NFL and NBA and MLB players taking vaxes? But we know that there are a ton of professional athletes who don't want to take the vaccines, right? These are people usually in their early 20s, mid-20s, who are at the peak of physical performance, right? Who eat right, who exercise, who take care of themselves, who we all wish we could basically emulate and look like and live that kind of life. And a lot of them are saying we don't want to get vaccinated. Actually, Michael's showing me some numbers right now. In the NFL, it appears that 93% are vaccinated. I mean, we'll see what happens to those other 7%. But there were two videos yesterday that are going viral right now. This first one is Orlando Magic player Jonathan Isaac talking about vaccines, talking about immunity and everything else. And just listen to this video. It's about a minute long. And you tell me who makes more sense, this guy or Fauci?
What is it about the vaccine that makes you hesitant to get it?
I would start with I've had COVID in the past. And so our understanding of antibodies, of natural immunity has changed a great deal from the onset of the pandemic and is still evolving. I understand that the vaccine would help if you catch COVID and you'll be able to have less symptoms from contracting it. But with me having COVID in the past and having antibodies with my current age group and physical fitness level, it's not necessarily a fear of mine. Taking the vaccine, like I said, it would decrease my chances of having a severe reaction, but it does open me up to the, albeit rare chance, but the possibility of having an adverse reaction to the vaccine itself. I don't believe that being unvaccinated means infected or being vaccinated means uninfected. You can still catch COVID with or without having the vaccine. I would say, honestly, the craziness of it all in terms of not being able to say that it should be everybody's fair choice without being demeaned or talked crazy to doesn't make one comfortable to do what said person is telling them to do. I would say that's a couple of the reasons that, I would say I'm hesitant at this time, but at the end of the day, I don't feel that it is, anyone's reason to come out and say, well, this is why or this is not why. It should just be their decision. And, loving your neighbors, not just loving those that agree with you or look like you or move in the same way that you do. It's loving those who don't.
Gosh, isn't that refreshing? Not only the information of what he's saying, that he had COVID, he talks about natural immunity, talks about the fact that just because you haven't been vaccinated doesn't mean you automatically have COVID, all of that stuff, but just the tenor and tone with which he speaks, right? That is a good, decent man. We are so bereft, we're so void at this point of good, decent people on television or in the thought leader space that when you hear someone, just a decent guy, this is an NBA player, we just checked his stats, he's averaged about 10 points a game, he's been in the league for a couple seasons. I actually never heard of him. I don't watch the NBA anymore, as you know, because of the politics that they've injected into the league. So I don't even know who he was. But that's a good man. That's somebody I would like to have dinner with and chat with. And he talks about mutual respect and everything else at the end. And it's which message? Is that not a message that we should be hearing more of, right? Which message are we always getting? You better do what we say, or you're evil, or you're racist, or you're an anti-vaxxer, or a conspiracy theory. Here is a decent man telling you the truth, telling you the absolute truth. We've got another video, actually, from another NBA player. This is Washington Wizards player, and I did know of him because he's been playing for a couple of years now, Bradley Beal.
every player, every person in this world is going to make their own decision for themselves. I would like an explanation to, people with vaccines. Why are they still getting COVID? If that's something that we are supposed to highly be protected from. Like, it's funny that, it reduces your chances of going to the hospital. It doesn't eliminate anybody from getting COVID, right? So is everybody in here vaxxed? I would assume, right? So you all can still get COVID, right?
We're less likely to die or go to the hospital.
Okay, but you can still get COVID. Right. So, and you can still pass it along with the vax, right?
So
I'm just asking the question.
Oh, sure. And so, like, having COVID back around the Olympics, like, that basically just saying, like, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but having it change your opinion one way or another, like, did it kind of reemphasize I don't need the vaccine because of that?
No. That wasn't the case. I mean, yeah, I had it, but that doesn't mean I can't get it again, I mean, it's no different than somebody with the vaccine. Like, I developed the antibodies for it, so my chances will be less likely now as well, right? But it's still a possibility I may get it. Just like there are players and coaches and staff who are vaxxed and missing camp right now because of it, so.
Bradley Beal of the Washington Wizards, who you saw right there, is asking better questions than anyone in the press corps is asking of this administration. Even when he says the line there, he goes, "I'm just asking a question." Didn't that feel kind of interesting to you? Because we're kind of being told at this point that we can't ask questions. We better just obey. But his questions are completely valid, much like his commentary is completely valid. In America, I think, and for a limited time remaining, we're still allowed to ask questions. You're still allowed to question authority. You're still allowed to push back. You're still allowed to say, I am an autonomous individual and I can make decisions for myself. I wonder how much longer these two guys will be in the NBA, because the NBA is not too kind to people who push back, right? The NBA has made it very clear that they are a political organization backing Black Lives Matter, that you're not allowed to talk anti-China. And I wonder if it's going to be a little harder for those guys to get contracts right now, which is why so many people are silent. We did get a little more info on the vaccinated percentages of professional athletes. So I said before, the NFL, 93% vaccinated. NBA, it appears 90% vaccinated. But also keep this in mind. Not only are these guys at the height of physical fitness and all of that, and eat right, and all of the things that you're supposed to do that we don't talk about anymore, right? We don't talk about diet, we don't talk about exercise, we just tell you to stay home and order in Chinese food, all of that. Not only is that all true, but the absolute farce that sports has become, where coaches wear masks when they're on the sideline. And guess what happens? Then they call a timeout and everyone huddles around and the coach is screaming with the mask, so he always takes the mask down. We've all seen these videos. Or players, they play in the game, they're sweating on each other, spitting on each other, bleeding on each other, hacking each other, scratching each other and everything else. That's fine on the court. Then they get on the bench and they put the mask on. It's all nonsensical theater.